Hey, folks, welcome into Plan Today on Tomorrow. Gary Thurman, founder and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. Thank you so much for taking time out of your morning. If you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube, or if you're listening to us on one of our many radio stations over the weekend, we hope you guys enjoy the show. Each and every week, we try to bring you some great knowledge on retirement planning, financial planning, everything there is to it. I wanted to do something a little different today. Really don't have any script today. We got some notes here because we're really going to do a Q&A session, talking with Tim and Bobby today. And we're going to have some questions about retirement, maybe some personal questions, and then some mistakes that we've actually made that maybe could be something on your mind. And then maybe throw in a few questions that have nothing to do with money at all. So we're going to have a little fun this morning. Tim McDermott, Bobby Futch, how we doing today, guys?
I'm good. Good morning.
Fantastic. I was just talking about how we were listening to jock jams on the way in to drop the kids
To
off
daycare?
at daycare today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're getting hyped up.
So that's some good stuff. That's back in the day. That was Space Jam, right? The
I brought
movie?
up Space
Welcome to
Jam.
the Space Jam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pat, I shouldn't sing,
Michael
especially
Jordan?
not on the radio.
Michael Jordan was in
Jordan?
that, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then who was the bunny? The bunny. The bunny was the famous athlete, right?
I don't remember.
Oh, a trivia question. We're going to have to get Tristan to Google that for us.
yeah, and then we moved into some old Will Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Welcome to Miami.
Yeah,
Get jiggy
love
with it.
that.
Yeah.
That's on one of my workout play.
Get jiggy
I was
with
about
it?
to say CDs, guys. How old am I?
We were
It's
talking
not a CD,
We were
actually.
talking about VHSs the other day. The Lion King. That's what we had it on VHS, man.
Absolutely. You know, I was at a conference last Friday, and one of the questions, talking about music, and everything now is on our phones, right? It's easier that way. Then the guy asked the question, who actually remembers CDs? Who actually remembers cassettes? Who actually remembers albums?
Yeah.
Who
Eight
remembers
tracks?
8 tracks?
Yeah.
It cuts
How
off.
about-
I know what an 8-track is, but
Right.
I never owned any 8-track.
This was a slim-lived technology. Do you guys remember Blu-ray?
Oh, I do.
Oh, yeah.
I do. Speaking of 8 tracks, I played baseball as a little boy and played travel ball.
Yeah.
And my stepfather had this blue van that we traveled everywhere in that blue van, and he had 2 8 tracks, Willie Nelson and Alabama,
Love it.
which is why I know every song to those artists, but became big fans of it as well. So, hey, guys, welcome to the show. We're being a little silly this morning, but we're just trying to have a little fun. Again, we're just going to do a Q&A session with this and just mix it up a little bit. But I do want to jump in because we do focus on, retirement planning for the most part on this show. And let's just start there, Tim. I'm going to start with you. If somebody walks in our office and says, Tim, I think I'm ready to retire, what's the first question you really want to ask them?
Do they remember VHS?
Yeah, great tracks.
No, probably my first question, the first thing we kind of dig into when someone walks into our office is what does retirement look like for you? What are you going to do? Who are you going to see? Are you going to travel? Do you need to go buy a boat, an RV, a vacation home? Right? What's the goal?
Yeah, lifestyle.
Yeah, and we hear everything all over the board. We just had a client in the other day who's getting ready to retire, and he's got a second home, and he plans on playing a lot of golf out there. Right? Yeah. That's kind of what he wants to do, and so that changes golf. Everybody in here plays golf. It's not cheap.
It's expensive hobby. Yep.
Yeah, and so you got to kind of budget for that. And
Absolutely.
So once we find out what you want to do, we want to match your lifestyle to the budget that you need, right?
Yeah, and like that spending plan, we were just talking about a spending plan yesterday, not a budget, but if someone puts the proper spending plan together, I mean, Bobby, I'll just go to you on this. They can pretty much live the lifestyle they want, but you've got to stick with that spending plan.
Yeah, and that's something we talk to a lot of folks about is that spending plan. Listen, we want to know how much it costs to be, we're working with you, Gary Thurman.
Right.
And so we ask
expensive.
those questions, and it's an important thing that you're honest with yourself, right?
Right.
Right. We're not going to look at it and say, oh my gosh, you spend how much on what? That's not what we're here for.
We don't
care really what you're spending your money on.
Just want to plan for it.
It's our job to figure that out. And so we have a conversation with people, put a spending plan together, let us know what that number is, and be honest with yourself.
And it's very easy. We sit there and we ask folks, what does it cost to be Gary Thurman, right? And so Gary sits there and thinks about his mortgage, the utilities bill, the cell phone bill, and they're like, all that added up, $3,000, $4,000 a month. Okay, great. What about where you go to eat? What about the movies on Tuesday night? What about that golf membership you
Or
have?
that coffee you buy every morning.
What about all those gifts you get for the grandkids around Christmas, right? All that needs to be budgeted into the spending plan.
And that's huge for younger people.
Yep.
Huge
Yes.
for younger people because they think I can't afford to put money in my 401k. Well, you actually can if you quit buying that latte every morning. You know, there's different things like that that go into a spending plan.
We do need to think about the spending plan in that sense as younger adults who are trying to save for retirement. Going into retirement, I don't necessarily want you to think about it as should I cut out that morning coffee?
Right.
Yes.
I want to know what your realistic spending is.
I like
right?
that.
Yeah.
And Bobby, what's something people worry about financially sometimes that isn't actually one of their biggest problems?
I think I'm not going to downplay that it could be a problem, but I think people focus too much on market volatility as they move into retirement.
Sure.
Right? If you have a proper plan, an income plan, an investment management plan, a tax plan going into retirement, the market volatility is not as big of a scary thing as people make it out to be. It's something you got to plan for. You can't ignore it.
That's right.
But for an investor, market volatility can actually be a pretty good tool to
Yeah.
use if you use it right.
Well, and I think that comes from the old rule of 100, right? Everybody's focused on, okay, well, I'm older now, so I should be less aggressive. It's not necessarily true,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
It's according to where you're at in life.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Can you afford to take on the risk with all of your assets or a part of your assets? That's the real question.
Yeah, if you're basing how much market risk or market exposure you have based on your age, you're missing a lot of other variables there.
Yeah,
Right.
I get
It's
that.
not just simply based on your age.
And there's things that people, maybe there's actually some risk out there that they are overlooking.
Sure.
Right? Healthcare,
Taxes.
Medicare plan, taxes. There's a lot of things that play into all this stuff, which is why we put a plan together, right, Bobby?
That's exactly right. And most people, when they talk to the financial advisor or financial planner, they say, what's risk? And it automatically goes to the market. There's a lot more risks in retirement than just market fluctuations.
There's a lot out there. There's a lot out there.
You've been doing this a while, Gary. What are some of the mistakes? Pick one mistake. If you could tell every 55-year-old, what would it be to avoid?
This one's hit me kind of hard here lately, boys, and because a lot of the research I've been doing for my book. Because how did you grow up at home? When you were a child, how was mom and dad? What was the conversations about money? I think a lot of people, and I'll just use myself for an example. I heard all the time, money don't grow on trees, Gary. We can't afford that. Different situations like that. What I think a lot of people do and make a mistake at, Bobby, is they take those childhood memories of money. Now all of a sudden you're 55, and your mindset is still the exact same way. I really do think that's a big mistake.
We see that a lot, especially with older folks that maybe their parents lived through the Depression. Every
Yeah.
once in a while we'll get somebody who's done extremely well for themselves,
They can't bring
and they
themselves to
can't.
spend
Yeah,
money.
they cannot spend money.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things outside of me being personal about childhood memories is people just wait too long. I think a lot of people as they're younger don't think they can start putting money back and paying themselves first, as we talk about. That's why I talk about David Bach's book, The Latte Factor, all the time, because it's amazing what $10 a day put back with a little bit of interest adds up to over 25, 30, 35, 40 years.
Without
It's
a doubt.
crazy to me.
What's something you guys believed about retirement 20 years ago that you think is different now, right?
Oh, I love that question. What do you think, Bobby?
The 4% rule comes to mind.
Oh, that's a great one.
Right, 20 years ago, it was, you had a pot of money in a 401k or an IRA. You could pull 4% out and have an extremely reasonable expectation that you wouldn't run out of money. Interest rates have been crushed. Inflation's been higher here lately. Healthcare costs are going up. People are living longer. All those things, really throws a wrench into the old 4% rule.
Yeah. I wish people, I guess this is 20 years ago or 2 years ago, I wish people understood that money is actually a tool. It's a tool. And you got to give that money a job. You really do got to give that money a job. I think so many people think of money and they got to grow it as much as they can. But 20 years ago, maybe that was the key. And it's still a key today. We want to grow our money. But if you're going to step into retirement, how much money do you actually have? Is it actually working for you or not working for you? Is it stale? Is it collecting cobwebs? Is it too risky? We talked about risk a few minutes ago. I think there's a lot more comprehensive ways to look at things than it was 20 years ago.
Yeah, to kind of
The world has changed.
Yeah, to kind of piggyback off of what you're talking about there, 20 years ago, pensions were a lot more prevalent. Right?
Oh, absolutely.
And so, 20, 25 years ago, you could retire on a pension and Social Security, not doing a whole lot of financial planning. But to your point, Gary, that's changed. You got to provide your own pension for most people nowadays.
That's right.
So you need to make sure that your money's working for you, not in your 50s, but in your 30s and 40s.
That's kind of where I would have gone with that.
Yeah,
20
exactly.
years ago, annuities were a different
Man,
animal.
don't
right?
do 'em.
Yeah, almost, right? They had to be very specific for the situation.
Yeah.
We've gotten a much broader variety of options that are out there, much more creative, much more effective in today's world.
I think it's crazy what has happened over the last 20 years. And I think 20 years ago, when you go back to some of the movies that were created 20 years ago about money, I think people made money too complicated. They made retirement planning too complicated.
Yeah.
And I think we have, at this group, at our firm, have realized we just got to keep it simple. And that's why we have our bucket system, red, yellow, and green. If you put your money to work in each one of those buckets, then you can live that dream lifestyle you wanted to in retirement. Don't you agree, Tim?
Yeah, risk diversification with a purpose, absolutely. It defeats the old 4% rule, right? Because we've got a
Sure.
bucket that's designed for income, allowing the other bucket to grow and go through volatility if needed.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you want to know a little bit more about our team and who we are? Go to GIAPlantoday.com. GIAPlantoday.com. You can see our TV shows. You can listen to our radio shows. You can see all of our content we put out on YouTube. A great way for you to get to know us at our firm a little bit better. So again, GIAPlantoday.com. We'll be back with more fun questions coming up.
Every year, taxes are handled the same way. You earn income, the year ends, and you file a return. That trains us to look at taxes through a rearview mirror. Retirement taxes do not always work that way. Qualified retirement accounts are generally taxed based on future income decisions and future tax rates. Once those decisions are made, flexibility may be limited. That's why tax planning often works best when done proactively, before decisions are locked in. Visit plantodaytaxbill.com or scan the QR code to use our free tax calculator and see what that potential tax liability on your qualified retirement assets could look like based on your current assumptions.
Welcome back to Plan the Day on Tomorrow. Gary Thurman having a little fun on our radio show today. Hey, thank you so much for watching us on YouTube or Facebook Live. We appreciate that. And if you're watching us already recorded, you're going back and watching it, and or if you're listening to us on the radio, we appreciate that as well. Here in Chattanooga, 423-710-9199. Up in Knoxville, 865-951-7526. And as I said at the close of the first segment, GIAPlantoday.com. You can go and check us out, see a lot of content there, GIAPlantoday.com. Let's just jump right back in. All right, I'm asking you guys this question right here. Tim, what's more dangerous in retirement, being too aggressive or being too conservative?
I think being too conservative is pretty dangerous. We see a lot of folks who take all their money and throw it into CDs, money market accounts, things that just cannot possibly lose money because they're so nervous about the market, but they're so conservative that they can't really grow those funds like they should.
Yeah.
They're falling behind on inflation. They're not able to keep up with lifestyle COLA adjustments that everything else has going on. Take that with a grain of salt because everybody's situation is going to be a little different.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, being too conservative is it can be a very dangerous thing, and that sounds counterintuitive, and I think that's why it's overlooked so much.
Yeah, I agree with you. We got a client in Knoxville. We're actually meeting this afternoon. We met with them last week, and these guys have done well. They have $1 million in the bank. $1 million.
Bank loves them.
Yeah, bank loves them. So all I did for them is run a historical report of inflation compared to the rates they're getting.
Yep.
Actually, guys, you're actually losing money.
Yeah,
because you're paying taxes on that growth every year, and you're not even keeping up with inflation.
Yeah.
That's too conservative, right, Tim?
Yeah, we have a real rate of return calculator that shows you, hey, if you've gotten the average rate from the bank, plus you have to pay taxes with that 1099 every single year. What's the real rate of return after 10 or 20 years? And it's averaging a negative return.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. All right, Bobby, fun question right here.
I'm actually going to disagree with that last point that
Are
you
ya?
guys made. We asked which is more dangerous.
Yep.
Being conservative is an issue, right? but I think I would argue that it's more dangerous to be too aggressive.
Okay.
Right? We kind of have the same issues. You guys aren't keeping up. The conservative investor is not keeping up with inflation. You're losing dollar value. That's kind of a slow roll, right? You can kind of see
That is a slow roll.
You can kind of see that hurricane coming,
Sure.
right? You know, Tim and I are from Florida. We know hurricanes well.
Yeah.
You see it, right? You can change for that. I would say you're putting yourself more at risk being too aggressive. It's more like the tornado, in my opinion, right? Because that can happen overnight, right? If you
Can.
go into
Out of nowhere.
retirement,
Sure can.
and you know you're too aggressive in your investments. And we saw in 2008, 2022, what that can do. If you're not planning for taxes, right? That's another risk you have in retirement. Those things can happen quick, right?
Sure.
2029, we know that Congress is, you know, free to change the tax rates. So if you're not, you know, being a planner with your
Right.
taxes,
Yeah.
you're growing money, you're being really aggressive with it. I think that can derail you faster than being too conservative.
And again,
but they're
I'm-
both an issue, right?
I'm going to go back to what I said earlier. That's why you have to have a plan. You have to have your money in different buckets. That way it's working for you in a conservative way and an aggressive way.
Yes.
So when that tornado happens, you got other buckets of money you can pull from.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, it makes it all different. Bobby, fun question. You ready?
Okay.
I'm writing you a check for $10 million today.
Okay. And it clears.
10.
Right?
I hope it clears.
Okay,
It may
okay.
bounce all the way
Okay.
to Knoxville, brother.
Void written across the front.
Yeah.
All right,
$10
it
million.
clears.
But there's one rule.
Okay.
You have to retire immediately.
Oh,
Are you taking the deal?
bummer.
Does
Yeah. So my question here is
$10 million in your mid 30s.
Can I be like some of our clients and like partially retire, or do like I have to stay at home?
You have to. You're done. You're retiring 100%.
Listen, don't get me wrong. I'm taking your $10 million, right? I'm going to take your $10 million, and I'm going to spend the next couple of months figuring out what I can do in retirement.
Stretch it out.
You know, I'm not worried about running out of $10 million, but I'm more worried about, which we talk to a lot of our clients about, you know, what am I going to do for the second half of my life to make sure I have a meaning? Right?
That would be very concerning to me. If I could,
I'll figure it out though.
If I could start a business with that, or start like passive income businesses, maybe. But is that considered retired?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll see Bobby starting like a outdoor take people
Yeah.
guide fishing
Dude, I'd
guide
love
company
that.
or something
That's
like
not
that.
work though. That doesn't count as work, right?
Then
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
But
Do it. Run it non for profit.
oh, that's a good idea.
Then
There
you
you
can't.
go.
Then you can't call it work.
I'm in.
And you get the tax write-off.
But that's but that's the big thing, right? And this is a fun question, but we talk to people all the time about this. You know, you write about it in your new book. You
Yeah.
got to do something.
Sure.
This is funny, right? I'll be 40 next year. Hopefully that's a long time to sit and be retired. Man, if you sit on your couch like a traditional retired person,
Not gonna
or
be there,
whatever,
buddy.
You're just not going to last
So
long. You got to
turning
find
40
meaning.
next year, you got 50 years to plan with $10 million. 50 years. Think about that.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about the money. I'm worried about my mental, emotional, and physical health, right? Because I've been doing this for long enough now that it brings me fulfillment and joy. Like I've got to work.
Yep.
So I guess it all depends on what retirement actually means.
Would
I
you
love that.
Would you lean too aggressive or too conservative?
I
Ooh,
would.
Great question.
Man, that's a good question. 50 years that I'm planning for. I got 2 kids. I'd be probably more on the aggressive side.
Yeah.
Just because, you know, if 2008 happened again and I had 6 million, I'm still pretty good.
Yeah.
Right?
Would you take any of that money, though, and put it somewhere for safe growth?
Yeah, I probably would.
Yeah.
Right? Just to make sure that if I went off the deep end or
Sure.
you saw me coming down the Tennessee River in a yacht, right, that my kids would be taken care of and there's some slow growth there to leave
Yeah.
the next generation.
Would you hire me as your financial advisor?
Tim? Yeah, because did Tim get the same offer? He may have to still work.
No, he's working.
Oh, he's working? Yeah. You know, I'd park my money at Guardian Investment
That's right,
Advisors.
buddy.
That way I didn't have to worry about it.
Shameless,
right.
shameless plug right there.
Yeah.
That's kind of shameless. I love
I'd
that.
just
Pretty
call
good,
Tim
though.
and Gary and say, send me more gas money for my Tennessee River yacht.
I love it. All right, guys, what we see a lot out there is other firms, we call them the big box firms. You know, they spend a lot of time talking to people about what they should do. But what about the things that they should not do? What about some mistakes that can be made out there? And let's get a little personal here. Tell them, what's a financial mistake you personally made that actually made you a better advisor?
We ran for a long time without a spending plan.
That's a good one.
And you don't you're busy, right? Like I got 2 kids. I've got a wife. We both got full-time jobs. Like there's not a whole lot of time where we sit around and like, oh, we're bored. What do we do next?
Exactly.
Let's go budget, right?
Yeah, right. And so we ran for a long time without a spending plan, but the last 2 years, we've sat down at the beginning of the year and looked at what our budget actually is. And I'm talking about everything from how much Joe spends on, doing her hair and her nails to, what I spend on hobbies and, what we spend on going out to lunch every day, right?
Right.
And so it's all written down, and we've got a pretty daggum good idea on what we spend each month.
Yeah, I love that.
And I'll point out, your spending plan does this, and everybody's spending plan should have line items for savings.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it's
You
not
gotta pay
just-
yourself first.
It's just not what goes out with expenses. It's making sure every dollar you bring in has a place and a plan.
Savings and budget for yourself in gross dollars. What I mean by that is make sure there's a line item for what you're paying in taxes,
Oh,
a
absolutely.
line item for what you're paying on health care, because a lot of people get their health insurance through their employer. Make that a separate line item. Don't take your net pay.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like
the,
that.
the idea there is as it changes over time, you can see those things.
That's
When most people just say, my paycheck, what I get, ACH'd into my checking account went up
Yeah.
or down.
Yeah.
It's important to look at those things and
And know
realize
why.
what you're paying before you actually
Again,
get your
put
money.
every dollar you make to work for you. Period. Bobby, same thing. Same question.
Yeah,
Mistake.
I'd say these are for our younger clients, young people, young professionals. It's great to own your own home, right? That's
Sure.
kind of a goal for everybody. But make sure you understand what it costs to actually buy and maintain a home. I probably bought a home way too young, right? Back when I lived down in Georgia. And then maintenance costs came up.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
then, taxes didn't get cheaper. And then, my insurance wanted to charge me more every year.
You have to maintenance the things that you buy to maintenance your house. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, if you're going, I was in a situation where, I rented a place and my mortgage was cheaper than rent. Well, then you're going to want to paint. Then you're going to want to redo floors.
Yeah.
Then you're going to, and that's good. Do those things, right? You should enjoy your home, but make sure you understand what it actually costs to maintain that asset.
Yeah.
And and I hesitate to tell people to think about your primary residence as an investment.
Mm.
Do they appreciate and value most of the time? But if you're buying a house to live in, thinking you're going to make a bunch of money on it,
Yeah.
that's probably not true. all the time.
Yeah, David Bach just did a podcast. Actually, Tristan and I listened to it, and that was his biggest conversation: is rent or buy, rent or buy. He's a big fan of buy-in home because you are building equity
Sure.
inside that home. But I think everybody's situation is different.
Without a doubt.
I don't think there's anything wrong with renting until you get to a certain situation financially, personally. So that's what I think.
And then when you go get that mortgage, they're going to tell you you can buy this big old giant house and you've been approved for X amount. And
That's right.
be careful with that.
Yeah. Hey, guys, when we come back, we're going to jump into more Q&A. Now, we're going to have a little fun over the next few sections. We're still going to be talking about some money, but we're going to talk about some different things as well, just so you get to know us a little bit better and how our brain works when it comes around retirement planning and other things in our life. One of the main goals for this show is I want you guys to know we're actually real people. I think financial planners get a lot of negative feedback. We're just real people. We have a real heart, and we have a real love for our clients, and that's what we do every single day at Guardian Investment Advisors. If you want to know a little bit more about us, go to GIAPlantoday.com, GIAPlantoday.com. You can also call our office here in Chattanooga, 423-710-9199. Up in Knoxville, Mr. Brogan, 865-951-7526. Come in and see us. Have a conversation. It doesn't cost you a thing, and we'd love to help you out. We'll be back with more Q&A. Stay tuned.
Every year, taxes are handled the same way. You earn income, the year ends, and you file a return. That trains us to look at taxes through a rearview mirror. Retirement taxes do not always work that way. Qualified retirement accounts are generally taxed based on future income decisions and future tax rates. Once those decisions are made, flexibility may be limited. That's why tax planning often works best when done proactively, before decisions are locked in. Visit plantodaytaxbill.com or scan the QR code to use our free tax calculator and see what that potential tax liability on your qualified retirement assets could look like based on your current assumptions.
Hey guys, welcome back to Plan Today on Tomorrow. Gary Thurman, founder and CEO of Guardian Investment Advisors. I hope you are enjoying the show today. We are having a little bit of fun. We have talked a lot about money, retirement planning, mistakes, things you need to look for. Bobby's retiring today because I'm writing him a check for $10 million. He's leaving us. I'm just joking. He's not leaving us.
Bye, guys.
In the middle. Man.
But I just want to get into some more things so you guys get to know us a little bit better and who we are. I've asked the guys a lot of different questions today, and the last few was some mistakes they've actually made and how that's helped them progress into being great advisors today, which was really, really good. So, guys, what do you got for me?
Go ahead.
Yeah, Gary, I would say, you have a couple of hats here, maybe more than two. Right?
Yeah.
Financial advisor, you and Rhonda own the firm. I want to ask you this question from a business owner standpoint. What are some mistakes you've made, not as a financial advisor, but as a business owner?
As a business owner, great question. So, this particular business, we're 16 years in right now. And, gosh, being a business owner is hard. And I think one of my biggest issues and my biggest problems was wanting control over everything, and not delegating. I'll be honest with you guys, one of the biggest fears I had is when I hired my first employee, because all of a sudden I'm like, wow, I got a payroll. So if I don't do my job good, I can't pay this person, and that person can't feed their family. I mean, that was a big thing to me. I don't know if you guys remember a couple years ago in the cabin, on our company trip, we're all sitting around having that lasagna and all that stuff, and we got kids everywhere, we got all this wonderful stuff going on, and I disappeared for a few minutes because I was like, oh my gosh. Like, if I don't do a good job as a business owner, I've got all these people now that are part of our team that we have to take care of. So that, I think one of the biggest things for me, Bobby, was the fear of growth, the fear of delegation, the fear of payroll. I think one of the biggest mistakes that I made is waiting too long to do those things, doing it all myself. Maybe a little less stress then. Because, I was only worried about me and Rhonda at that point. But I do think not delegating and trying to do everything myself was probably two of the biggest mistakes I've ever made. And thank God we're not in that situation now. Yeah. I've grown up and learned from it.
They're different, right? Learning to be a good financial advisor is not easy.
Yeah.
Learning to be a good business owner is not easy. Which one was harder for you, Gary? Teach yourself and learning to be a good financial advisor, or teach yourself and learning to be a good business owner?
A good business owner, good leader. I'm going to say, so when I was on my own, Bobby, which we can talk about this as well, for years and years and years, I had two buckets, not three. I had the yellow bucket and the green bucket. That's what I did. I only worked with a portion of someone's portfolio. Of course, that's why Tim came into our lives several years ago, and now we can do everything. So, that was fun for me because I was only worried about having emergency money and having income. That was the two things I focused on. I think becoming a good business owner and or a good leader, that was hard. It's still hard every day. I was just at a conference again last Friday, and I was sitting in a room with a bunch of entrepreneurs, and there were so many tears that happened in that conference. Because mistakes happen. You don't want to make mistakes, but being part of other mentor groups has really helped me develop. And honestly, as you guys call me old, growing up. Finally, it took me a while to grow up. And I think that's a big deal when it comes to being a good leader. And you know what, guys, and this is a big one, and I'm talking about it on the radio, so I'm being very vulnerable here, is turning your business over to God and letting that stage what happens, letting him lead the way. That was hard for me because I was a control freak. Oh, I can do it. I don't need anybody's help. But I did that a few years ago, and we are growing. We've got a heck of a team. We've got a heck of a culture. But becoming a good leader, a good business owner, it's just hard, guys. It's just hard. But it's a lot of fun now. I had to grow up, and I think that makes it kind of crazy. So, yeah, good questions, though. Good questions. Tim, how do I know I can actually have enough money to retire?
Yeah, how am I supposed to follow that?
No. Glad he asked you.
That's where sitting down with someone like us, we'll put together a plan to say, here's the kind of income that you can reasonably take throughout your retirement plan. Does this meet your lifestyle, your spending plan, your budgeting goals? And we use our bucket system to kind of accomplish that, right? And having enough money to retire doesn't simply mean, hey, do we have a Social Security and pension takes care of our lifestyle? Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Glad that's the case.
Yeah.
What about when the roof starts leaking or the radiator goes out in the car, or eventually, probably the car you own today is not the car you're going to drive through your entire retirement.
That's right.
We have a client now. The guy holds on to his cars for a long time.
Smart man.
But even now, they're talking about, hey, we're going to have to get a new car at some point down the road, right? Like, it's going to happen. AC is going to go out. What about the vacation that you guys want to take overseas, right?
Yeah.
These are all things that are going to cost above and beyond the typical daily budget that you have set for yourself. And so I know one of the things we talk about all the time is healthcare.
Yeah, big time.
It's what's the number right now?
70% of us are going to need some type of long-term care.
So long-term care is another one, right?
But just general health care?
General health care.
So
healthy
a 65-year-old is going to spend $165,000, $170,000 in general health care in retirement.
Not including long-term care.
Not including long-term
now
care.
Per person.
Not including Medicare premiums.
Right.
Yeah.
Now tack on long-term care on top of that, right? You see that the buckets we have set aside for income need to be, this needs to be above and beyond that to take care of those things.
Yeah, fun question. Tim just brought up cars. Bobby, what was your first car?
My first car was a 1993 Ford Ranger.
It's not bad.
Extended cab. It had
Nice.
those fold-down seats.
Yeah, but there was a big thing going
5-speed.
around. Yeah,
What was your first car, Tim?
Rangers used to jump themselves off of like dirt hills. Did you ever do that?
We thought they did.
I hope my parents aren't listening to this morning's show, but that Ranger may have caught some air.
I love it.
It went through it.
I love it. Dukes
What
of
was your
Hazzard
first car,
style.
Tim?
First car, 1999 Camaro with the T-tops.
You were way cooler
Bob,
than me.
good grief.
Listen, I bought it for $3,800 off Facebook Marketplace.
Nice.
And I ran it until it needed a tune-up. I mean, it was misfiring for a couple months there before I could afford to go get a tune-up done on it. But then, no, I loved that car.
You had the only 7-cylinder Camaro out there?
Yeah. I think it was 6. There was probably 2 misfires there. And then my T-top leaked at the top left there.
What's amazing to me, first of all, he had a Camaro T-top. Second of all, he bought it on Facebook.
That's right.
When I bought a car,
What was yours, Gary?
actually, my father bought me my first car for $2,000. It was a 1978 Plymouth Arrow truck.
Nice.
I'll have to Google that.
It was the
That's-
ugliest thing you've ever seen in your life, and it blew blue smoke the whole time.
Oh, nice.
When I was going through McDonald's drive-through, people hated me. They're like, Gary, turn your car off. I mean, seriously, it was so bad, and there was no Facebook Marketplace back then.
I do recant my previous statement. It was not Facebook Marketplace. You're right. It was it was Craigslist.
Craigslist, there you go. I love that, Bobby. I love this question, and then we'll have more fun on this stuff. But Tim calls this guilt spending or not having guilt spending. So many people retire and they accumulate, they grow that mountain. They get to the top of the mountain. Now they're at the top of the mountain. Now they start having to come down that mountain in retirement. People have such a hard time spending that money. Why is that?
Yeah, some people do, and it tends to be the ones that generally have a bigger 401k or IRA balance, right? Because they were so disciplined for 3+ decades to get to that spot. It feels really bad for them to see that number come down.
Yeah.
Right? It's just an emotional thing.
Sure.
Right? I've been adding for so long. I'm doing myself a disservice by actually spending the money. And we got to talk to them about, listen, that's why you saved all this, right? You don't want to continue working your entire life or, have saved really well and then not have the retirement you want just so there can be some number in account when God calls you home.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of ways. One, we got to make sure they understand that there's a plan.
Yeah.
Right. As they see that number decline, as they're spending it, that's part of the plan is to see the number decline. We've got to do a good job to convince them that that's not going to go to 0 before they pass away. Right.
I love that.
Or more often, what we do is use that balance and convert it to dependable, steady income. Right. That way, there's still a balance there. It's the fun money, right? Because you know the checks are going to come. You know you can't outlive your income stream. So now you're not reliant on a number on a statement to make sure you can pay your bills.
That's a big, isn't it?
And that really kind of helps people get in the right mindset.
I mean, climbing the mountain's fun.
Sure.
Yeah, accumulating money is fun. But that's why the planning really has to take place and really needs to be the number one. You've got to have a written income plan, a written health care plan, a written tax plan. I mean, retirement planning is not easy. And there's a lot of people that choose to do it on their own, Tim, but, sitting down with someone like us kind of gives them that peace of mind. They don't have to worry about that anymore, right?
Yeah, and I think that becomes evident when we show them how the bucket system works. The green bucket really takes care of that income stream. The red bucket's over there for all the other necessities throughout life, right?
I agree. Guys, there's so many things when it comes to retirement planning, and there's so many things when it's getting to know who we are. We're trying to share that with you today. Now, when we come back on our last segment, I'm going to call this the questions nobody is prepared for. We're just going to do rapid fire with Tim and Bobby and myself. Just talk about all kinds of different categories, just so you get to know us a little bit better. Hey, give us a call. Come in and see Tim and Bobby here in Chattanooga, 423-710-9199. Come up and see Brogan, 865-951-7526 in Knoxville, Tennessee. And you can always go to our website, giaplantoday.com, to find out more about us, see our TV shows, our YouTube content, listen to past radio shows. Again, giaplantoday.com. When we come back, the questions nobody is prepared for. We'll be right back. Are you really ready to retire? Have you taken the steps to make sure your income will last as long as you do? Most people think they're ready until they take the quiz. Get a complimentary retirement reality check at giaquiz.com and find out where you stand and how to move forward with confidence. Welcome back to Plan Today on Tomorrow. I'm sitting here fighting with my clock, if you guys are wondering what I'm doing right now. There we go. I got it going now. Hey, guys, we've had a lot of fun today on the show, Plan Today on Tomorrow. Been talking about a lot of different things. I mean, we've been all over the place today. If you didn't catch the show live, you can always go back on YouTube and our Facebook and watch the entirety of the show. If you are watching us live, thank you so much. If you're listening to us on one of our many radio outlets, thank you so much. Just a quick reminder, here in Chattanooga, 423-710-9199. Our Knoxville office, 865-951-7526. All right, let's have a little fun, guys. We talked about our first cars. That was interesting. Tim, most famous person you'd want to have dinner with, dead or alive?
Been asked this question a lot of times, and I feel like I've changed my answer over the years. I think it would be interesting to understand where Julius Caesar comes from.
Oh.
It's the Roman Empire. You think about
huge.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a thing going around online like the average dude thinks about the Roman Empire 2 or 3 times a day?
Oh yeah.
You guys remember that?
Yeah. That's a real thing. No, but I think it would be interesting to understand where his mindset came from. How he built it, and then what happened. I mean, we kind of know what happened, I guess, on the backside, what the collapse was for, but. Interesting to think that the United States is known as kind of the world leader, right? We're the new Roman Empire, if you will, right?
Yeah.
Do we survive, right?
Yeah. It's funny you bring up the Roman Empire. Do you guys know that's when annuities were first created?
Yeah.
Did you guys know that?
Yeah.
They were called annuities, and they were really for all the soldiers out there because, my gosh, they were fighting somewhere every day.
Yep.
And it was really to take care of their families. So that's really a question. Bobby, do you have an answer for that really quick?
Yeah, I'm going to take it a little lighter than the collapse of the United States, Tim. I'm going to say Theodore Roosevelt.
That's
right,
a good one.
ex-president, right? That's a cool political.
I love that.
And then he was a really big outdoorsman, too. So I think that'd be cool.
Tim, if somebody gave you $50,000 but said you had to spend it by midnight, what are you buying?
Oof.
I think I know the answer to this.
Can I buy stock shares? Does that count?
You can buy anything you want.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, then.
I'm buying
really? It's not a car?
No.
You love cars.
I don't need a car, though. I've got a car that I like.
Oh, Tim is thinking like a grown-up now.
I've got a motorcycle that I like. My wife's got a brand new car. We don't need any more cars. We don't have any more.
I'll give you a fun answer. I'm going to buy some sort of camping travel trailer.
Oh, that's good.
Right.
I like that. That'd be fun.
I like
love
that idea. I'd say maybe I'd buy a 4-wheeler.
Oh, that'd be fun.
like
But I hope it's not 50 grand.
No. The rest of it goes towards stock.
No, Tim buy a nice one so I can borrow it.
Bobby, one food you could eat every day and one food you'll never eat again.
One food I could eat every day:
We were just talking about this.
tacos.
Okay.
And you know what?
You and Rhonda Thurman are getting on this well.
I enjoy a fancy taco. Believe me, I do. But man, something about the ground beef with the packet you get from Food City and lettuce, cheese, tomato, and some sour cream. Knock it out.
What's the one food you cannot eat or will not eat?
Will never eat again. Rest my grandma's soul. I love my grandma. Every Christmas dinner, she'd make cabbage rolls.
Oh, God, I love cabbage rolls.
Golly.
That sounds pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Listen, I can. I'm glad I haven't run into a cabbage roll again. There's just something about it. I didn't like the taste. I didn't like the texture.
Yeah.
And I'm not a very picky eater.
Tim, same question.
I eat some kind of red meat almost every single day.
Yeah.
We were just talking about blood types and dietary restrictions for them. So my blood type loves red meat. I eat it almost every single day, if not multiple times a day. Livers. I hate livers. That's something that you either love or you hate.
Yeah.
And I just cannot stand the taste of it.
Yeah, I gotcha.
None of it. Oh, yeah.
So mine's going to be a food I can eat every day. Anything Italian. That's my favorite. I love Italian food. Something I will never eat again is olives.
What?
Can't stand them.
Any kind of olive?
Any kind of olive. I just can't. Ugh.
We can't all be right.
No martini for Gary, I guess.
Without the olives. Okay. Yeah, I give them to Rhonda. So, Tim, what song would you play every time you walked into a room if you could?
Woof.
Get Jiggy With It by Will Smith. We were talking about that earlier.
You know, I don't hate it.
love it.
I don't hate it. I don't know.
You don't have one?
No,
You got
I don't
one?
know
Man, I haven't thought about this.
I already got mine right off the bat.
What's yours?
Good Day by Forrest Frank.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be a good day. The song makes me feel good.
Sure.
Yeah.
It makes me feel good.
Sure.
Or maybe something by Morgan Wallen.
My
I'm a big Morgan
music
Wallen fan.
taste just changes every other second.
Every day?
Oh, I want the Darth Vader theme song, just because it'd be so funny.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun. It's just me that walks in.
Hey, guys.
All right, Bobby, I'm going to ask you this question. We can all generally talk about it. Who's more competitive, Tim, Bobby, or Gary?
Gary.
No, me.
Tim's up there too, but I'd have to pick Gary.
Competitive at what?
Just in general.
In
In
general.
anything.
Yeah, I'll probably throw you out there for that.
Okay, I like it. I'm not going to ask the next question because I have no clue. Who's most likely to get a speeding ticket?
Tim. Next question.
Yep.
That was
Listen,
easy.
I like
I'm
that one.
keeping
Who would be the
attorney-
worst contestant on Survivor?
I'd never watched the show.
You
I
never
wrote
watched
no
Survivor?
clue.
Oh, all right.
I mean, do you have an answer for the worst contestant on Survivor?
Yeah, you.
Yeah, because I've never watched it, nor would I ever do that. No way I would
never
do that.
watched it.
Who's most likely to retire first out of us three?
Wow.
Are we going to assume everything is like it is now?
What, did you
or
get your $10 million check?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, that's true.
good
I've already
question.
punched out. I clock out after this show. But if we were all the same age, probably
Bobby.
Tim.
If we're all the
Me?
same age, you think so?
Tim or
That's
or
a hard
me.
one because we all love what we do.
Yeah, because I know it wouldn't be you, Gary.
Even if I retired from this, I would do something else.
All right, then probably me.
Let's follow that question up. Who is least likely to actually stay retired?
Boy.
I want to say all three of us, but
Yeah. I think we're all going to do something. I don't
yeah.
think we're ever going to be the cliche retired guys sitting on a couch doing that sort of thing.
yeah, I
It's
agree.
becoming less of a cliche nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah.
Tim, what's the most ridiculous thing you've ever spent money on?
Well, I bought as an impulse buy that and big. If you've gone to Costco recently, there's a big dinosaur.
Are we
and
talking about what you
inflatable
sold
water
yesterday?
Slide. I used it for the summer. My kids loved it, but they loved the neighborhood pool just as much. And so I sold that thing yesterday, and I'm glad that I did.
I love that. You got something, Bobby?
Yeah, I do, and I still own it. So I like being outside.
Okay.
You know, I'd like firearms. I own, and I have no idea why, a single shot break action 10 gauge shotgun.
Wow. Sounds fun, actually.
I love it.
I will gladly let you shoot the thing. It's like
Bruise your shoulder.
it was like the turkey gun before the
Yeah.
technology got good. So you just needed this giant. It looks like a pipe with a trigger. I fired it twice, and it is just brutal.
month.
I need to get rid of it. I don't.
It's
know
like
what
a
I'm
CD. It's sitting there collecting cobwebs in the
yes.
corner of your closet
and
right now.
depreciating in value
I
quickly.
love it. Tim, I think I know the answer to this. If you were not working in the financial services, what would you be doing?
I did mechanics for a little while before I got into this, and I enjoyed that. I don't know if I'd go back to that.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I don't know.
Yeah,
some hard
it's a
work.
tough one. What's the worst job you ever had? Ooh,
Worst.
worst job you ever had?
I worked at a restaurant for 2 days.
2 days, man. Talk about patience.
I am not cut out for that industry. Thank God for all the people who do work in the waiters and waitresses industry, the restaurant industry in general. I know Gary worked in the restaurant for a little while.
I loved it.
I worked in front of house, and I did not enjoy it.
Yeah,
I could see
Bobby,
too.
what's the worst
You
job?
don't know what you want yet? Figure it out.
What's the worst job you ever had?
Man, I've been lucky that I've had pretty good jobs.
Me too.
I'd say the one that I enjoyed the least, it was also a restaurant, but I worked in the kitchen at Panera Bread. And as far as like stories I've heard about people working in restaurants, it wasn't bad.
You still eat there, so
Yeah, the food's great. I don't have a problem with it. I had the early shift too, which was kind of cool. So I'd go in at like 5, and I'd be off before noon.
nice.
But I don't remember any of their names. I always worked preparing orders with 3 really nice Filipino ladies that were super good at their job. And they got so good at the job because they were good. So they'd speak Filipino around me. I wouldn't know what was going on. They were so fast.
Yeah,
I
that's
was
awesome, though.
always the one dragging them in the weeds. But eventually they took me under their shoulders, and I could make a roast beef sandwich pretty quick
I bet you
before I
could.
got done there.
Yeah, my worst job, and this is hard to say because I wanted to be a chef. That was my goal. But at the time, I was working at the hospital as a sous chef and at a restaurant as a sous chef. So my whole life was work, and about 4 or 5 hours sleep a night. So I'm going to say that was the worst job I ever had. I didn't have any fun then because I was just working my tail off, which is great. Who's most likely at this table to survive on a deserted island?
Ooh, I think Bobby's.
I'm
probably
going
up
with
there
Bobby on that one. Yeah, I am too. And I know the answer to this one already. Who's getting voted off the island first?
Yeah.
Me. I would not be able to do it, gentlemen.
Gary's going to vote himself off. I'm going home.
I
see ya.
volunteer.
Give me my, yeah.
Did you see him swimming off?
Guys, let's end the show. We got about a minute. I know it's going to be hard. One thing we can never allow ourselves to do is lose who we are as we grow as a firm. And Tim, give me 2 good points as we grow as a firm. What's 2 things that are so important?
I think it's really important to keep that fiduciary responsibility, your principles at the front of mind, making sure that the client's best decisions, best needs always come first at the end of the day.
So doing what's right.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You would think, especially in our industry where money's such a big thing that that would just be a standard across the board, but
it's not.
unfortunately it's not.
Yeah, Bobby?
My real quick one is staying independent, right? We have relationships with dozens of insurance companies, 3 or 4, big brokerage houses we use just for custodian work, but we don't work for any of them. We don't answer to any of them.
We work for that client.
Yeah, we
treat
can
them as
just
family.
leverage those relationships, but we need to stay independent.
I love that. Mine's going to be culture. As we grow, there's more people that come into the firm. There's more personalities. There's more all these different things that go along. But I think if we maintain a great culture, then we can grow as much as we want to. That's what I think. So, hey, I hope you guys enjoyed today's show. It's a little bit different. We threw a lot of random stuff at you guys today, but we had a lot of fun. I hope you guys did too. You want to know a little bit more about us, go to giaplantoday.com, giaplantoday.com. Give us a call in Chattanooga, 423-710-9199. Up in Knoxville, 865-951-7526. We'll be back next week with more Plan Today on tomorrow. Have a great week, folks. God bless. Take care.